In this video, we're going to look at 10 parts you need to be able to make a bare minimum gaming PC. We're also going to look at how to pick the parts and how to put a price list together. Feel free to follow along and pause when you need to. We start by going into pcpartpicker.com. The first thing we're going to do now is make a mental note of the objective of this build, which is to have the best gaming experience across single and multiplayer games for $1,000. Click on Start Your Build. We're going to pick the first 3 items in the below order: GPU, CPU, and motherboard, after which we'll let the website take the lead. So let's start with number 1, the GPU. As the component is going to be the biggest driver of gaming performance, this is where we're going to spend most of our money. Since our budget is $1,000, we're going to select the best graphics card we can for $500. We want to make sure our video card has at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. So on the left, we scroll down till we find memory, then select 16 gigabyte minimum. Now sort by price, scroll down till you're up to $500. As a part of our objective, we need to make sure that we're selecting a video card which is great across single player and multiplayer games. So we're going to look for the best, latest gen, GeForce card your money can buy. In this case, it's GeForce RTX 4060 Ti. Before we select the first one we see at the $500 mark, let's check if there are any other cheaper RTX 4060 Ti's. The cheapest one is fine. Click Add. The second item is the CPU, and is the second biggest driver of our gaming performance. We want to make sure the CPU has at least 8 cores, so on the left, select minimum core count as 8. We also want to make sure that we're looking at an Intel CPU. So on the left, select Intel as the manufacturer. We're aiming for 20% of our budget on this. We start by looking at what the cheapest i9 is that fits under our budget for $200. Just like an iPhone, for performance, we want to make sure that we're getting the latest iPhone Pro we can. We also want to make sure there is a K at the end of the name because we want to overclock it. Since there are no i9s in our price range, we will now lower our expectations to an i7. We can see a 12700KF. It has the K we wanted for overclocking, and it's 12th generation, so it's only 2 years older than the latest gen. Click Add. This website recognizes that we have a 12700KF CPU, so from here, it's only going to recommend us a motherboard which will fit that CPU. As we want to overclock, we want a motherboard which has the Z in front of it. Find the chipset filter on the left, expand, and select the only Z options available to us. Sort by price. Select the cheapest one and click Add. Now that we have selected the first 3 items, we'll let the website dictate which components we pick from here on out. Select CPU cooler. As we want to overclock this, we want a 360 AIO for best cooling. To do this, on the left-hand side, under water cooled, select 360mm. Sort by price. We have a bit of a selection for the same price range. Select the one with the highest RPM fans. Click Add. Let's now choose memory. As the motherboard we picked fits DDR4 RAM, we only get a selection of DDR4 kits. Here we have 3 requirements. The RAM kit must add up to 32 megabytes, be spread over more than one slot to reach that number, and at least reach 3600 megatransfers per second speed. So on the left, under speed, make the minimum 3600. Under modules, select 4x8 and 2x16. Sort by price. Select the cheapest. Now click on Storage. On the left, minimum of 1000 megabytes capacity. Select Yes for NVMe. Sort by price. Adata is a good brand to go with here, as their prices are typically cheaper for the speed we purchase. Now let's select a case. There are three main requirements with your case. The top space at the front fits a fan. It fits your GPU. It fits your CPU cooler. We're going to trust that the second and third requirements have already been sorted out by the website, but we will verify it at the end, just to be on the safe side. So sort by price. Let's now click on the pictures and check if there is a top fan at the front. As we can see, there is a grill as opposed to other features. Grill means airflow for fans. An example of what we want to avoid is here. Click Add on the cheapest one. Let's now move on to power supply. Based on all the components we've selected, the website has calculated how many watts all the components use. However, as it doesn't accommodate for overclocking or anything extra we might plug into the system, let's go over its recommendation by at least 100. So on the left, select 570 watts. Also, under modular, select full. Select the cheapest one. At this point, if you're exceeding your budget, do your best not to touch the three components which give you all of your gaming performance, which is your CPU, GPU, and RAM. In this case, we're going to see if non-modular power supplies are cheaper, and they are. So we select the cheapest one, which supplies us with 570 plus watts. Finally, the last two absolutely necessary components we need are a keyboard and mouse. So under peripherals, select keyboards, select the cheapest keyboard and mouse combo you can. As mentioned earlier, let's now manually make sure that the video card and the CPU cooler will fit in just fine. First, we look at the specs of the case and we see that it can handle a GPU up to 320 millimeters long. When we look at the specs of the GPU, we can see that it is 245 millimeters long, so this will easily fit into our case. We can also see from a picture of the case that it has capacity for 3 fans at the front with a radiator, so our 360 millimeter AIO cooler will fit right in. And we're done. From here, once you get the parts, you can either choose to take it to a shop yourself and get them to put it together for you for a few dollars, or you can put it together yourself, which I would highly recommend. If you've ever followed instruction and put a piece of furniture together yourself, this is no harder. If you're familiar with computers, you will notice that I have not included an operating system or a monitor. That's because you can use the operating system for free as long as you wish. And for a monitor, you can use a modern TV, which your household will likely already have. Just make sure you have an HDMI cable. Thus, making these the bare minimum parts you need to be able to make a PC.